Redistricting is not just a hot-button issue in Michigan. Several states are redrawing their political maps, essentially changing the representation of its residents in the House and Senate. And Michigan's Redistricting Commission has been holding a series of meetings to get the public's input on its proposed political maps. The maps are based on the 2020 census, and some worry the new boundaries won't protect the rights of minority voters. However, commissioners insist the proposed boundaries are fair and fact-based.
Drawn using analysis and an evidence-based, data-driven process that show that minority candidates actually get to have more of an impact in our legislature the way these proposed draft maps are currently configured.
2/3 of the black elected officials in the state legislature come from Detroit. And so if you decrease the number of seats that elect black people here, it has huge impacts on not just the black people who live in Detroit, but the black people in Benton Harbor, the black people who live all across the state that are never going to have a black elected official because, spoiler, they don't live in a district where they're ever going to be 50%.
And the commission is set to vote on the final maps by November 5th. There is a 45-day comment period, and State Senator Adam Ollier, who you heard from there, does say that it's possible after that potentially the maps could be changed. The new districts are supposed to be finalized, however, by the end of the year. So now we have Niele Anderson, co-anchor of Fox Soul's The Black Report, joining us with a deeper look at how redistricting is affecting communities of color. 13 congressional districts, 38 Michigan Senate districts, and 110 Michigan House districts. Certainly a lot at stake here, Niele.
It's a lot at stake, and when you look at the nation at large, you know, redistricting is a huge conversation, and we know that this is all related to the census and why, you know, we were really pushing, and the country was really pushing for people to participate because redistricting is the effect of the census.
All right, let's talk about the public hearing that happened Wednesday at MSU. It was delayed because of some death threats, and lawmakers are now requesting an opinion from the Attorney General here in Michigan over whether the commission's closed-door meetings with lawyers violated the state constitution, and we should mention the Voting Rights Act, which is central to what has some people very aggrieved here. The commission reportedly drafted districts in which black voters would not constitute a majority, except for a single state house district in one draft.
And at the end of the day, the larger scope is when we look at the census, we know that the majority is no longer that, and the minority communities in this country are going to be, you know, the majority. So when you look at that, this is a way that the GOP is strategically working to keep control of redistricting and seats in Congress. When we look at the Senate, when we look at Congressional members. So it's really falling into play as to where the power will lie in this country.
And speaking of Republicans and Democrats, that's something that's different about this citizen commission. It is of everyday people, 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 5 independents. So in some ways, that issue of partisanship is extracted.
Well, if that was true, you wouldn't have black civil leaders at these commission meetings fighting for equity and representation. So we know that that's not true. Because if that was the case, then you wouldn't have people coming and showing up fighting for their representation in these commission meetings.
Is there hope then across the country for a politically clean process if this commission, which is balanced, cannot come to an apolitical decision?
Well, when you look at it on a national level, there are so many different places, like take, for instance, Texas. Texas just redrew their maps, and we're looking at a race, you know, that might happen between Sheila Lee Jackson and Al Green, which have had their own districts, and now they may have to run against each other, which means that you lose a seat, which means that when you get to Capitol Hill, we've lost a seat in representation. And to your question, I'm not sure if we'll be able to have the fairness in representation to represent what this country is really made of today.
And let's talk about some of those other places. Illinois Democrats are turning to gerrymandering to eliminate 2 Republican seats in the House. Iowa's State House and Senate approved new political maps that need to be signed by the governor, which apparently give Republicans more of a stronghold. And as we have to acknowledge, as we've said, these aren't exactly parallel issues because the commission is supposed to be exempt from political pressures because of their even nature. But we do see, like what you alluded to there, across the country, legislatures essentially acting in a political way. How much would you say this is happening all across America?
I would say a lot. It's happening in every city, every state, local, nationally. It is a problem. And I think that this all goes back to the importance of civic participation, because the people have the power. And we're talking about people in power having all of the power. So we need the community to show up at these commission meetings to state their claim, to say we want our representation, and our representation matters from a local level to a state level to a federal level.
All right, Niele Anderson from Fox Soul's The Black Report. I know that if people want to watch you, there's an opportunity for them to do that all across the nation. Tell us about it.
Right, so all you have to do is download the Fox Soul app. We're available on Roku, Samsung, and all you have to do is check out Fox Soul's Black Report Monday through Friday. It's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
All right, thank you so much, Niele Anderson, for joining us.